Alright guys, some stocks I'm going to be watching on Friday. VMEM is one of them. If you can't understand what I'm saying, you can look up here in the corner. Hopefully the video is clear enough you'll be able to see the symbol. This one's interesting. I mean, you had the gap down. You can tell it's a newer issue and then just got pummeled here. New low here, but then really kind of a long base. Alright, so up over this base looks pretty good. And you can see there's a lower high right there. So over this, you've got a catalyst possibly breaking this. Anyway, I really like this one over this base. So VMEM. RKUS has also been showing some big volume lately. Let me pan out a little bit. And look at the volume lately compared to before that. And I really think this one's acting like it wants to take off. So keep an eye on this one also over this range right here. It's been kind of fighting with the 200-day, poked above it here a few days ago and is right back up. So I like this one over recent highs. CNAT. You know, maybe a little ahead of itself, but you have stacked catalyst is what I like to call it here. And so if we can start, like if we can break today's high, Thursday's high, then you can look at Wednesday's high is right there. And then about 7 or 8 days before that, you had a high. So you've got a bunch of catalysts to knock down. And then up here, this could really get going. Look at this crazy move it made back here. So I like this. If it were to open, and the market is rarely this friendly, but if it were to open, you know, where it closed at 12:06, I like it at 12:15, which would be a break of Thursday's high, knowing that just above that you have 12:31, which would be a break of Wednesday's high, and another catalyst just above that at 12:45, which is a break of this high from whatever that is, a couple weeks ago. And then you know, and then it could really get going. So anytime I have stacked catalysts like that, that's hard to say. It becomes an interesting, interesting setup. CNAT, kind of a squinky trader though, so you don't want to go big with that one. EDU, nothing pretty here. I do not know what that is doing there. Anyway, 2 big days down in a row. Had a nice bounce off this $28 area. 28 used to be resistance. So anytime you find a number that's kind of significant on a specific stock, who knows why that happens, right? But it had resistance there, then support there. 2 big days down. This one is on bounce watch. Now, what I'd like to see is a trade in a 20 or 30 cent range for a couple hours. But who knows what's going to happen, and then get a high of day break. But it's definitely interesting to me for a potential bounce. CPN, probably even an uglier chart here, but it's down 4 days in a row and has done pretty well around this $19 area. It did go down to $18.50 here, but at this one, kind of like that last chart I showed you, EDU, if it can trade in a narrow range and break its early high in the afternoon or something, should get a nice pop. PRAN. Very strong stock and had a gap up on Wednesday, kind of an inside day on Thursday. So I give you a couple numbers. I like it over 1168, knowing that just above that is a possible 1209 break of what would that be, Wednesday's high. Okay, so you have stacked catalyst again. So if this one can hit 1169, I'm probably going to go long. Now there's always caveats. One being, you know, if it opens, if it were to gap down to $9 or $10, then this number of 1169 means nothing to me. So any numbers I give you in these videos kind of assumes a fairly flat open, and open fairly close to where it closed. And then also, if it were to trigger in the first minute or 2 or 5, you know, in the first few minutes of trading, I generally leave those alone too, because they're more apt to fail. Having said that, though, I did call OXBT. I like this chart so much. Today in chat, I liked it, and you can see what happened. It had a reversal, but not before. Let me go to 2-minute candles. Not before I called this long. Actually, I have to go to 1-minute candles. So it's very rare, but I called this one right here on the 1-minute break, the break of the 1-minute high, right at 690. You know, I said low of day stop, but really I wouldn't have given that more than a dime, and it was within 2 or 3 minutes we were up to 716, and you can see it went over 730. And this is, by the way, a chart to keep your eyes on going forward. If we get up above recent highs one of these days, there's not a lot in the way for another big move like this. So generally, though, my point being, I don't generally take a trade in the first few minutes. I liked this chart enough that I was comfortable calling a break of the 1 minute high today. HA. If there's market weakness, this one needs to come in, and you get a little bit of a topping candle there. And, the 8-day moving average is down here at 1146. So this could, if it breaks below Thursday's high and there's some market weakness, if it gets down around 1210, a break of Thursday's high, this could give a short, just as kind of what I call a reversion trade. The stock needs to come back down to the moving averages. It's ahead of itself. So watch the airlines, and if the airlines or the market has any weakness, I like this one. I feel like it's ahead of itself here. Some lower volume ones. I always like to have a list of those as well. STV, very interesting. This thing had a huge move over the course of about 2 weeks, and now is 4 days down in a row. Hit the 20-day today. This one is on bounce watch. With the proper setup, you can get a nice percentage gain in these, but it all depends on intraday action. BDSI had the gap up here, and really is showing some nice strength. So that one's worth watching. CNET. Anytime I get a crazy move like this from whatever it was, $1 to 280, I start watching that for the second or third or fourth day. A break of its early high, you can get a nice percentage gain. It doesn't cost you anything to have these on charts. BIOF, same deal. Anytime you get a crazy move like that, it finds its way on one of my charts. I've recently added 3 monitors, so now I have 6 monitors, and it gives me chart space, gives me extra charts, so I can have these things on watch in case they do set up. OXBT, I already talked about that one. DHRM, this one's on bounce watch. That's all. Nothing too fancy there, but whoops, let me try that again. LIVE. Now remember, these are the lower float ones that I'm showing you now. This thing was $12 a couple weeks ago, now down to $7. Sitting at the 20-day, again, on bounce watch. I have to have a proper setup. QTWW held this support and now looks to be headed back up. ROSG, a really thin one, but I like this chart. If you look at it on the weekly, I have to kind of zoom in, but this thing looks really good over recent highs, and then if you can get up over 437, I mean, look what it did back here, went all the way to 22 something in 1 week. Now I'm not suggesting that's going to happen, but then you pan out on the daily. Put a little trend line here, and I think you'll see what I'm looking at. So, up over this red candle from a couple days ago, I guess that would have been Wednesday. You could take out this high and start a nice move again. This one at times can really take off. So again, nothing. If you look at it today, just nothing. Yesterday, nothing. But if you get an afternoon high of day break in ROSG, could be interesting. And OPTT, I don't like the looks of this right now. It needs to come in some more. But this one has given us several good trades recently in the chat room just by having it on watch. It's made a huge move back here. And then a couple of these intraday setups, we've had pretty nice percentage gains just by having it on a chart. So that's what I have. It's more than I need. We'll see you guys on Friday.